Welcome to Headphone News, Greater Vancouver edition for Wednesday, November 20th, 2024.
Burnaby approves new bus lane on Hastings Street. The Burnaby City Council in British Columbia, Canada, has approved a new dedicated bus lane on Hastings Street. This bus lane will cover 3 kilometers and will operate every day of the week. The goal is to reduce delays for bus riders in this busy area. The council also decided to keep some curbside parking by adding bus bulbs at bus stops, which will extend sidewalks into the travel lane. Local businesses raise concerns about losing parking spaces, which are important for their customers. Design work for the project will start soon, with plans for implementation by 2026.
Understanding bomb cyclones and atmospheric rivers. Recent discussions highlight the terms bomb cyclone and atmospheric river that describe extreme weather events. Meteorologist Cindy Day explains that these terms are essential for helping people prepare for severe weather. A bomb cyclone refers to a rapidly intensifying low-pressure system that can create dangerous conditions. British Columbia, a province in Canada, frequently faces extreme weather, including atmospheric rivers. In 2021, the British Columbia government began developing a scale to measure the intensity of atmospheric rivers after significant flooding impacted the area. Using accurate weather terminology is crucial for public safety and awareness.
Convicted sex offender returns to Surrey. Brian Abrasimo, a convicted sex offender, is set to return to Surrey, British Columbia. He previously served over 14 years in prison for serious offenses, including the sexual assault and abduction of an 11-year-old girl. After his release last year, he was placed under a 10-year long-term supervision order, which required him to stay away from children's areas and report any new relationships to his case management team. Concerns were raised when he made inappropriate advances toward a woman at a shelter, resulting in the suspension of his supervision order. The Parole Board of Canada has now decided to allow his return to a community residential facility, but with stricter conditions. He is prohibited from starting any relationships with women without permission from his parole supervisor. Local officials, including Mayor Brenda Locke, have voiced concerns about public safety regarding his return.
Cargo jet skids off Vancouver runway. On November 20th, 2024, a Boeing 767 cargo jet operated by Cargojet skidded off the runway at Vancouver International Airport in British Columbia, Canada. The aircraft reported a flight control issue shortly before landing while carrying about 10,000 kilograms of fuel. It was traveling at approximately 200 kilometers per hour when it left the runway, continuing 500 meters past the end before coming to a stop in a grassy area. Fortunately, none of the 3 crew members were injured. The north runway will remain closed for about 2 days as recovery operations take place. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada is investigating the incident. At the time, weather conditions included light rain and snow.
Alibaba raises $5 billion in bond deal. Alibaba Group, a prominent e-commerce company from Beijing, China, has successfully raised $5 billion through a dual-currency bond offering. The deal includes $2.65 billion in U.S. dollar bonds and 17 billion yuan, which is roughly $2.35 billion. This issuance stands as the largest corporate bond in the Asia-Pacific region for this year. Investor interest was strong, reaching $14.6 billion in demand. Alibaba plans to use the proceeds for various corporate purposes, including paying off debt and repurchasing shares. This marks Alibaba's return to the dollar bond market since 2021, showcasing a strategic approach to financial management.
Cypress Mountain Resort fined after Worksite death. Cypress Mountain Resort, located in West Vancouver, British Columbia, has been fined $132,000 Canadian dollars, approximately $98,000 US dollars, by WorkSafe BC, the workplace safety regulator. This fine follows a tragic incident on October 3, 2023, when a 26-year-old man from Ontario was killed after being pinned under a telehandler forklift while working on dismantling a ride. An investigation found several safety violations at the resort, including failures to properly secure loads and provide adequate training for workers. This incident highlights serious concerns about safety practices in the amusement and ski resort industry.
Eagle Ridge Hospital Emergency Room Update. Fraser Health confirmed that the emergency room at Eagle Ridge Hospital in Port Moody, British Columbia, is open and accepting patients. This follows social media claims suggesting that patients were being turned away. Port Coquitlam Mayor West reported that some patients faced long wait times and were advised to seek care elsewhere. The mayor expressed concerns about the healthcare system's future under new provincial leadership, noting that past emergency room closures have damaged public trust. Fraser Health emphasized that the emergency room has not turned away any patients.
Emergency alert test scheduled in British Columbia. On November 20th, 2024, at 1:55 p.m., British Columbia will hold a test of the National Public Alerting System. This test will interrupt radio and television broadcasts and send alerts to compatible cell phones. The message will inform residents that it is only a test and that no action is needed. The BC Emergency Alert System, which started in 2018, is tested twice a year to ensure it is ready for real emergencies. Similar alerts include Amber Alerts and the Early Earthquake Warning System.
Construction begins on Cambie Street Bridge in Vancouver. Construction on the Cambie Street Bridge in Vancouver, British Columbia, starts this week. This project will cause significant detours and delays for several months. The Cambie Street Bridge, built in 1985, is a 6-lane structure that connects the Olympic Village to downtown Vancouver. Two-way vehicle traffic will remain open, but the number of lanes will vary during construction. Bike lanes and sidewalks will close on one side at a time, so pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers should navigate carefully. Commuters are encouraged to plan for delays and consider alternate routes. The city aims to maintain vital infrastructure for safe travel and will coordinate traffic management with ongoing work on the Granville Connector to reduce disruptions.
Severe wind storm hits British Columbia. On November 19, 2024, a powerful windstorm, referred to as a bomb cyclone, hit British Columbia, leaving over 200,000 BC Hydro customers without power. The storm impacted regions such as Vancouver Island and the Lower Mainland. Wind speeds reached hazardous levels, causing additional outages in western Washington and Oregon. BC Hydro took precautions by positioning crews and equipment in strategic locations ahead of the storm. Residents were urged to prepare emergency kits and maintain a safe distance from downed power lines. The storm's effects were intensified by a drought that weakened trees, increasing the risk of them falling. This event underscores the importance of community preparedness and following safety guidelines during severe weather.
Canadians concerned about immigration benefits. A recent survey from the Canadian Museum for Human Rights shows that many Canadians are increasingly anxious about immigration. 56% of respondents believe that refugees and asylum seekers receive too many benefits, up from 49% last year. The survey also indicates that only 44% of Canadians think immigration makes the country better, a decline from 52% in 2023. Prime Minister Trudeau has acknowledged the need for faster action on immigration issues. Critics claim that his comments could negatively affect the perception of migrants. This survey highlights a notable shift in public sentiment about immigration in Canada.
Pedestrian struck in Abbotsford, airlifted to hospital. On the evening of November 20th, 2024, a pedestrian was struck by a vehicle in Abbotsford, British Columbia. The incident took place at 6:45 p.m. at the intersection of George Ferguson Way and Gladwin Road. The pedestrian sustained life-threatening injuries and was airlifted to a hospital for urgent medical care. The driver remained at the scene and is cooperating with local police. Authorities have closed George Ferguson Way in both directions for an investigation. Police are asking anyone who witnessed the incident or has dash camera footage to come forward.
Ukraine strikes Russian command post in Belgorod. On November 20, 2024, Ukraine reported a successful strike on a Russian command post in Gubkin, a town in the Belgorod region of Russia, located about 168 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Local residents observed thick black smoke and heard loud explosions after the attack. This strike followed a previous operation where Ukraine targeted a Russian arsenal using U.S. Army tactical missile systems, known as ATACMS. The Russian Defense Ministry stated that it intercepted 44 drones launched by Ukraine's armed forces, including 3 over the Belgorod region. Conflict between Ukraine and Russia continues to escalate, with military actions intensifying in the area.
Pierre Poilievre's control over Conservative MPs. Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, has increased control over the actions and statements of party members. Many Conservative MPs feel less free to express their views compared to previous leaders. Poilievre's office closely monitors MPs, discouraging them from interacting with members of other parties. Those who stick to the party line are rewarded, while those who stray face consequences, including reduced speaking time in the House of Commons. This strict discipline comes as the party holds a significant lead in polls, but some MPs are uncomfortable with the lack of independence. Concerns are growing about how this control might impact party unity and voter trust as Canada approaches upcoming elections.
Support for government action in Canada post-strikes. A recent poll indicates strong support among Canadians for government intervention in the ongoing strikes at Canada Post and various ports. 63% of respondents back the Liberal government's request for the Canada Industrial Relations Board to help resolve these disputes. The strike at Canada Post involves around 55,000 workers seeking higher wages. Concerns are rising about potential disruptions to mail service during the holiday season. The situation at the ports is also critical, with workers in British Columbia and Montreal locked out, stopping cargo movements. Public awareness of these issues is high, with many Canadians expressing worries about the impact on services.
That is all the news for today. Thank you for listening to today's headphone news. News summary brought to you by AI.